But once the void ray is charged up, you can see it really murders Vikings. Vikings are really weak, and again, you're going to see why this early push. I actually killed a few Marines here, and this is quite a tough position for Terran. He wants a reactor at this point, so he can really be pumping out loads of Marines and push with it. Tanks on their own are very fragile. You need Marines as a sort of a meat shield. Without the reactor, he can't be pumping Marines at the required rate. It's true that he does have more Marines at the start initially, but later on, when the push is required, he doesn't have enough Marines anymore. So now, because of this, I get a bunch of free kills on his pretty much a bunch of free kills on his SCV line, and this void ray has 10 kills, and that's just way too many. And here again, I'm just sniping his Marines. This may seem a waste. You might have thought, oh, you know, I should have moved my void ray back. But as is the case, I know he has a starport, I know he's got Vikings, and I know he's going to be making Marines. So I don't really need my void rays anymore. It's purely the threat of the void rays that are important now. And by reducing his Marine count early on, his push is going to be much weaker when it comes to my base. And you may not believe this, but 5 Marines, it's almost like an FD push. If you push, the difference between 5 Marines and 12 Marines is huge. If you think about the difference between a strong FD and just a normal FD push, a normal FD push may only have 4 Marines. His push is going to be much weaker, and I've severely damaged his base right now. So I do the usual thing. I put an expansion down after my second void ray. I got my warp gates. I'm getting my warp gates out, and now I'm going to do a cute little tech switch. I'm going to get 1 void ray, you know, just in case. But I'm going to do a nice little tech switch into stalkers, and I'm going to get stalkers and sentries, because I know that Terran is going to be going a very Viking Marine heavy build. He's seen my void rays, and now he's scared of them. And in response, I'm going to go this very sort of sentry stalker heavy build, and I'm going to be powering probes. I'm going to be adding extra gateways, and hopefully what this is going to do is when his push comes, he's going to be delayed, and he won't be able to. So I'll crush his push pretty much. Now I don't like this. Terran makes another small little mistake. He's putting turrets when he shouldn't be. This is nice positioning. It will stop any counterattack. But now he's got 3 Vikings. He's going to get a 4th Viking. That is a critical number of Vikings, which will stop void rays. And also, it will be very unsmart of Protoss to be building more void rays at this point, seeing the amount of Vikings. And you can see here, he's got quite a large number of tanks. You know, 4 tanks. That's a lot. I usually actually only push with 2 tanks. But because I've reduced his Marine count so much, you're going to see his push isn't going to be nearly as strong as it could. And even though this army looks quite strong versus my now much larger army, because I've been given the opportunity to macro from 4 gates, his push isn't going to do any damage. I'm pretty much going to crush it, and Protoss is pretty much just going to win the game here. Terran's going to have to GG. You're going to see in the future game that I'm going to upload very soon, where I'm going to show how to counter void rays and also do this Terran build properly. Me and Equilateral, we practiced it for hours and hours and hours on end, and we're going to show how this particular army composition and particular Terran build can be used in the future to perform a very powerful attack. As you can see, I just crushed Terran here. He's forced to GG. I've got an expansion. He doesn't. You know, I've been pumping for 4 gates and everything. So this is sort of little tricks and tips to help you Protoss players out there going fast void ray. Rally your first void ray with your first 2 talkers, and take your other void ray and send it to his base this way. Another few things would be when you start seeing Vikings, when you know he can counter your void rays, don't get any more. Build some warp gates. In fact, I preemptively put my gates down. Sometimes I put them before my expansion, sometimes I put them after my expansion, depending on sort of how safely or how greedily I want to play. Tech switch. Do a tech switch into gateway units. You know he's going to be very Marine heavy, he's going to be very Viking heavy, so you want to get the perfect counter for that, which is getting lots of stalkers and a couple of sentries. Versus tanks, it is better actually to get Stalkers and Sentries than it is to get Zealots. In StarCraft 1, Zealots were really strong against tanks because tanks did explosive damage. In StarCraft 2, however, tanks in Siege mode do full damage to everything, and this means versus Zealots, which are often really clumped together, they completely murder Zealots and Sentries. And I really wouldn't recommend going Zealots and Sentries versus tanks. It's a much better option to choose Stalkers, which take less splash damage because they're sort of more spread out usually, and Stalkers do plus damage to armored, so they kill tanks faster. They also outrange Marines, and this is incredibly useful. And more key is that they attack sooner than Zealots. Zealots take time to sort of run up to the Marines, do damage, etc, etc. Versus a Marine tank build, Marine tank is very fragile, but it has an extremely high DPS. I think each Marine does almost as much damage as a Marauder. So the key is you want to do as much burst damage as possible, and Stalkers are much better at doing quick burst damage than Zealots until you get Zealot charge. At this point, as Protoss, I probably should be adding a couple more gateways, and adding a Twilight Council, adding a robotics facility, but as you see, I was pretty close to winning the game. I thought I had this game in the bag, so I just A-moved and won. Again, mistakes that the Terran made is that his choice for Reaper Harass wasn't a very good idea. This extra factory was pretty much useless. I think that was a mistake as well. And using the reactor on the tech lab, not getting a reactor on the barracks. Sorry, like slipped there. Not getting a reactor on the barracks is a very big mistake. He only had a very small number of Marines to defend his army, and Marines are key to this build. And you're going to see in some future VODs I'm going to do where I play Terran, and you're going to see how key Marines are. A few other things, I disagree with the engineering bay. These turrets, whilst they were nicely placed, you really do want to have a mobile sort of defense. Void rays have a very large range, so you want to be careful of that. And turrets aren't too good with dealing against void rays. They're useful in a pinch, but rather you want to have 4 Marines and a void ray. And most importantly is you mustn't ever let void rays charge up. If they charge up, they become invincible. They can kill Vikings in seconds. They will take out Marines, just melt them really quickly. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I really like the void ray build. Next video I'm going to show how to directly counter the void ray build, and actually it's a really strong Terran opening that I'm going to show, and it's going to completely roll my best friend's face, and it rolled my face for quite a while as well. And as soon as Terrans catch onto it, I don't think I'm ever going to use void rays, or pretty much, yeah, I'm never going to use void rays again. As Testa said a few days ago, if a Protoss goes void rays against him, Testa says thank you very much and rolls his face. So thank you very much for watching in. Always remember to be very mannered, say GG before you leave the game. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave comments, tell me how I could commentate better. I'm very new to this, I'm still sort of umming and ahhing a few times, making sort of a few errors when I say things, but I hope to improve. I hope you find these videos useful. Please tell me what you'd like to see in the future. Thank you very much for listening in. Goodbye.